Hey everyone, what's going on? I was gonna go to bed, but I just keep having these really revealing synchronicities, and I just feel obligated to share it. I'm motivated. And earlier tonight, I had uploaded all of these videos, and a whole bunch of them, they had to do with this horse narrative that I've been talking about. And this horse narrative is related back to the Mandela effect and the Kentucky Derby in 2019. And you can come and check out some of these videos to understand what I am saying, but, there's this major horse narrative, and I talked about how it's related to Ukraine a little bit, and Kamala Harris, and the stock market, and a bunch of things. This horse narrative is very, very important. And when I was uploading these videos, I wanted to leave some links in the description, because there's so much information that you need to kind of review to understand what I am saying. And I thought it would just be easier just to make a playlist of some of these videos that I have, recently talked about, and to make a little bit more sense. And the first video I put in there was this 2019 Kentucky Derby video, because this is the video where all of my synchronicity and whatever with the horse theme kind of began. Because in 2018, the Kentucky Derby winner, or the favored horse, was Omaha Beach. And Omaha Beach ended up getting scratched, but the trainer or the owner, one or the other, was named Richard Mandela. And then I had someone comment on one of my old Mandela effect videos, and then I saw this thing with, I was looking up Jeopardy, and then I realized there was a sync with the Mandela effect. It's a whole lot to explain, but I realized that there was this connection to the Mandela effect and this horse theme. And you can watch other videos, but what's interesting is when I made this playlist, so this is the first video, so I usually just click on the first video and then I go up and get a copy of it, and I leave that link in the description, and it should leave the link to all this playlist. And when I went here, though, I noticed that Vladimir Putin was on this video, and apparently the last time that I watched this video, I must have stopped it somewhere around this time, and it had Vladimir Putin on it, and I'm thinking, what are the odds Vladimir Putin is also in this video connected to the Mandela effect and horse narrative. And then we got all this stuff with Russia and Ukraine going on. So I was trying to figure out why I talked about Vladimir Putin in this video. And the reason that I talked about Vladimir Putin in that video was because around the same time of this 2019 Mandela effect theme that was synced up to the horse racing, see these posts here? I also talked about a plane that skidded off the runway in Florida on like May 3rd or something, I believe. And on May 5th, where there was a Russian plane fire. And this plane that skidded off the runway in Florida was interesting because Putin had recently put out a video, and they had a story in the news about how Putin boasted his military might. And in that video, it had nuclear bombs hitting Florida. So I thought that was interesting. There was a Russian plane fire just days after this plane skidded off the runway in Florida. And that plane in Florida was coming back from Guantanamo Bay, which is a maximum security place. And remember, in the Kentucky Derby that year, Omaha Beach was scratched, and then maximum security actually won but got disqualified, right? Maximum security. Think about Guantanamo Bay and a whole bunch of stuff. And then Country House won. And it was all linked up back to this same theme that I was talking about with Mandela effect and whatever else. And what was even more interesting, so this Russian plane fire, I think the Florida one was on May 3rd. And then the Russian plane fire was on May 5th. But on May 4th, I got this strange comment on one of my old videos about Vladimir Putin. And it was on this video where I had synchronicity with Family Guy. I'll talk about this in a second, but I put this video out on July 19th, 2018. And keep in mind, these other things that I'm talking about were in the beginning of May of 2019. But on May 4th, 2019, the day before that Russian plane fire, someone commented on this video here, and they wrote, "So when Putin arrives, what are you supposed to Google when Putin states that he did something on the plane?" And it doesn't even really make that much sense, does it? When Putin arrives, what are you supposed to Google when Putin states he did something on the plane? And I don't think I talked about anything with a plane or anything in this video. So that comment was like, really, like, what in the world are they even talking about? And then the very next day, we get a plane fire in Russia. And I thought, man, there's got to be something to that. What are they trying to clue me in on here? You know, that's so strange. And back then, I was just starting to learn about the Francis Bacon Gematria. You know, this was right around the time where I really started learning the Francis Bacon Gematria. And just look at it. This person's name in Francis Bacon equals 219. 219 is this humongous number that I've talked about with this Mandela effect. And, you know, my recent videos, even a whole bunch of them involve. This one even is about the number 219 and how it's related to these themes, right? Medina Spirit, the Kentucky Derby horse, it died 219 days after the Kentucky Derby, and it died 2 months and 19 days after its owner's birthday. And Kentucky equals 219 in the Francis Bacon, and we recently got the story about how its win got nullified 219 days after Nelson Mandela's birthday. And just after Medina Spirit died, we got the story about the president of South Africa. Think about South Africa, Nelson Mandela. But his name equaled 219, and he got coronavirus. And I think he got coronavirus like 219 days before Nelson Mandela's birthday. And then we got the death of South African Desmond Tutu, and his birthday just so happens to be the same as Vladimir Putin's, now that I think about it, which is 2 months and 19 days after Nelson Mandela's birthday, and Desmond Tutu died 2 months and 19 days after his own birthday. So there's this big narrative with this number 219, and now I'm seeing that this person who left that comment's name equals 219. And further, I put that video out on July 19th, 2018, which was a span of 2 months and 19 days before Vladimir Putin's birthday. And also, if you go from July 19th to February 23rd, when this happened, it's also 219 days. Like, what are the odds that this would happen? And I would notice that I put Vladimir Putin in these old videos connected to the Mandela effect. And what happened today, right? The big news right now is that Russia is attacking Ukraine right now. You know what I mean? And there's a whole lot more to this, too, because this person who commented, their name's also 167. And this synchronicity that I had on this video they commented on, it was about season 16, episode 7 of Family Guy, where Peter Griffin is watching Rocky. He's watching like a bootlegged version of Rocky, but the Russians apparently changed it to where the Russian in Rocky 4 beats Rocky. And then Peter got mad, so he challenged Vladimir Putin to a boxing match, right? And this was important because this was season 16, episode 7. And I was watching it, or I wasn't watching it, I actually came home to document about the Putin-Trump meeting that was on 16/7. And it was a couple days later, or the next day, I think it was. And I was blogging about it, and then I looked up at the TV, and this episode of Family Guy just so happened to be on, and then I noticed it was season 16, episode 7, and it involved Vladimir Putin, who had just met Trump on 16/7, and this episode was called PD4, and in Gematria, PD4 equals 39, which is the 39th prime number is 167. So isn't it interesting this person's name also equals 167? And once again, 219 was a very important day that I was following with the numbers 39, 167, and 219, because 219 was 3 months and 9 days after my 39th birthday, and I canceled this ski trip to Breckenridge that's on 39 degrees north, and the word ski equals 39 and skiing equals 39, and I ended up going to Sioux Falls that equals 39, and talked about when I was a kid I used to go to Keystone, Colorado to go skiing, and Keystone equals 39, and the only time I ever made a video that involves Sioux Falls, or that I thought anyway, was with this video with my aunt's brother getting shot in Sioux Falls, and I talked about how it was connected to the Keystone service, and right, think about where I used to go skiing, and a whole lot more. So 39, 167, 219, these interrelated numbers. And of course, I even recently blogged about this too on 219 because I was. Let me see if I can find it here. I recently blogged about that episode on 219 while I was in Sioux Falls at the hotel because. Where did it go here? Yeah, 219 2022. Because I was looking at Donald Trump, you know, how he got impeached and it had to do with Ukraine. So I was like, I wonder, you know, how many days away. I was talking about this number 222 a lot. And I noticed that he got impeached 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days before 2/20/22, right? I was like, that's pretty interesting. But then I was trying to find when Biden and Putin had met earlier this year. And ironically, Biden and Putin met earlier this year on December 7th, the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, but it was one day after Medina Spirit had died. And then we get this news story with Medina Spirit in the news on 2/21. And, you know, the next day is 2/22/22. And of course, Joe Biden comes out and puts sanctions on Russia in a speech at 2:22 in the afternoon on 2/22/22. That was a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? So that was the very next day after we got another story about Medina Spirit. So that's pretty interesting. But moral of the story, I was searching. I couldn't remember what day that Biden and Putin had met or whatever, and it was the day after Medina Spirit had died. But when I was searching on my blog, it brought up this old post where Donald Trump had met Vladimir Putin. And if you look at the Wikipedia, the picture that they show of this episode is Donald Trump or Peter Griffin and Vladimir Putin riding horses, right? Like, what are the odds they're riding horses in this picture? And it was even more interesting because this whole episode had to do with boxing, right? Peter wanted to box Putin over the Rocky video where they changed it in the Russian one. And a few days after I had that synchronicity with this episode back in 2018, or a few weeks later, we got a story about how Donald Trump said that the media wanted him to box Vladimir Putin. And I was like, boxing again, Rocky, boxing. And then like a year later, we got these memes going around of Donald Trump with his head superimposed on Rocky's body, right? And Rocky has a lot to do with Turkey and Thanksgiving in the country Turkey that could be very important to what's going on with Ukraine and Russia as well. And you also think about Enes Kanter and how he got, you know, taken out of the NBA over his stance on China. So there's some interesting things going on with it here. But the reason I brought all that up was because on 219, one of the the headline stories about Ukraine was that Mike Tyson had some words of wisdom for Putin. And Mike Tyson, think about Mike Tyson, the boxer, right? Mike Tyson, the boxer. He also owns tigers. It's now the year of the tiger. And I just found the mayor of the biggest city in Ukraine. His birthday is also July 19th, the day that I put that video out. And he's still the mayor, but he's known as a professional boxer. So this guy, important to pay attention to, I think. But let's go back to this other thing here, just to get my point across. So this person comments on that. That's the whole point that I talked about it in my old video. That person's name's 219. I put that video out 2 months and 19 days before Putin's birthday. Today is 219 days before 2/23, when Russia finally attacks Ukraine. And even more interesting with that 2/22 is that the Ukraine equals 222, and Joe Biden comes out at 2/22 on 2/22, and Kamala Harris equals 222. But if you go from the day that Trump met Vladimir Putin, it's 2 months and 22 days, right? 16/7, 2 months, 22 days. Also 84 days, Vladimir Putin equals 84. But if you go from the day that Trump met Putin to 222, it's a span of 222 days. So this video that I put out and the Trump-Putin meeting was like stupidly synced up to this. And Nelson Mandela also equals 222 in Gematria. Talked a lot about Herbert Hoover and the stock market stuff with Kamala Harris. And Herbert Hoover equals 222. Right now we got, the stocks dropping because of this whole thing going on. That was season 16, episode 7 of Family Guy. The Trump-Putin meeting on 16/7. Thinking impaired, the person who commented, 167. My actual synchronicity was on 7/17, the day leaving 167 days in the year. The episode is called PD4, that equals 39. That's the 39th prime number, is 167. The Trump-Putin meeting was in Finland. Finland also equals 39. And the episode PD4 also equals 87, and that meeting was in Helsinki, Finland. That equals 87, and just Helsinki equals 87, and Russia equals 87. And the president of Finland, his name equals 87, and that meeting was 39 days after his birthday. So there's some interesting things going on. And also World War III equals 75. I think it also equals 69, right? World War III. Let's just type it out really quick. World War III equals 69. Vladimir Putin's 69 years old right now. But it's just interesting that it also equals 75, just like Russia equals 75. Something I talked about in this old video and post and so on. And Helsinki, Finland also equals 75. And Putin opened the Crimea Bridge 75 days after the nuking Florida video came out. And that video came out on 3/1, and Crimea equals 31. And Putin and Kim Jong-un's birthdays are 3 months and 1 day apart. Cold War equals 31. The president of Finland, he became the president on 3/1 as well. So, just thinking how the word tiger equals 31 as well. But it's just unbelievable, some of these things. That if you go from the day of that Russian plane fire to the anniversary of the day I put my video out, it's also 75 days. And think about Omaha Beach, right? We talked about this too. Omaha Beach, right? That is, makes you think of the Normandy landings and D-Day, right? And I talked about why this was important in the other videos, but Omaha Beach and D-Day. Think about, World War, Omaha Beach, D-Day. Think about how Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin met on Pearl Harbor Day. I mean, who knows? Who knows if it'll lead to World War III, but it's very interesting, how it all links up by these numbers. Let's take it back to Omaha Beach and D-Day. Just trying to think. What's D-Day on the... It's on 6/6, and then Francis Bacon at D-Day equals 66, I'm pretty sure, too. But there's some interesting things with D-Day there, What's 126, like Medina Spirit died on 12/6, and I'll talk about this number in a little bit, but Joe Biden equals 126. Afghanistan equals 126. But I'll come back to that. But I still haven't watched the Family Guy episode again, but I went to Hulu earlier, and I was going to try to watch that episode. And when I went to Hulu, and I typed in Family Guy, apparently whoever's watching Hulu at my house, because I haven't watched it in forever, apparently whoever last watched Family Guy, they last watched season 7, episode 16. A lot like the date that Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump met, right? Isn't that interesting? 7/16. And the one I'm talking about is 16/7. So I was like, I wonder, and it stopped somewhere right here. So I clicked on the video. I was like, I wonder if there's something important I'm going to see when I click on this video at like where it stops at. And no shit. Look what's on the screen when I turn on the video. Horses, right? And D-Day was also Operation Neptune, right? D-Day Operation Neptune, Neptune, the lover of horses, the god. But it's like, what are the odds that, I mean, just really, what are the odds that it's on season 7, episode 16, and the one I'm looking for is season 16, episode 7, and then I turn on this episode, and it's stuck on a part that has horses on it. You know what I mean? I got that comment from that person on the date 5-4, and today's the 54th day of the year as well. I don't know how, I don't know why that's important yet, but got that comment on 5-4. Today's the 54th day. The Trump-Putin meeting was 126 days before the episode that I had Synchronicity aired, and the creator of Family Guy, his birthday is 10/26, that, a lot like 126, and his name equals 126. And today is 126 days after Kamala Harris's birthday, and Joe Biden equals 126, just like how D-Day equals 126, Afghanistan 126. Afghanistan's also 223 in Francis Bacon, and today's 223. And think about these big things with war and Joe Biden, right? Afghanistan equals 223. Now today we get the next biggest story of Joe Biden's presidency on 223. Florida also equals 65, like horse. You know that Miami Dolphin stuff too, right? The coach of the Miami Dolphins in the news for getting fired for being racist, and that was all linked up to the young Dolph being murdered or whatever it was. That he commit suicide, young Dolph. And we talked all about that, how that was linked up to the date 219. And I have a bunch of videos on that where young Dolph was synced up to 219. But it just makes me think of Dolph Lundgren, who was the Russian boxer in the Rocky film, right? Dolph Lundgren. So I'm going to look him up really quick. Dolph Lundgren. I think that's how you spell it. His birthday's November 3rd. He's actually from Sweden. I don't know. Hans Lundgren and Dolph. Let's look him up really quick. Well, that's interesting because the young Dolph stuff is all about 189. Plus, he's got these numbers that are, related to the Society of Jesus. 239, 56, 187. Huh. Dolph Lundgren equals 69 and also 201 even. Some interesting things here with that guy. Let's look up his birthday. November 3rd. Try to think. 56, so 59 days in the year, 27. No, 58. I wonder how far away his birthday is from today. 2/23, 2022. 11/3, 2021. 112. Doesn't stand out to me in relation to what I'm talking about. He's 64. He'll be 65, though. Like Florida and like horse. Ha! Look at that. 253 days. 223 to his birthday. 253 days. Didn't his name equal 253? Dolph Lundgren, 253. Interesting. 23, 24. 27 days after Putin's birthday. Huh. I'll come back and look at this later. I wonder how it links up to my, my synchronicity and whatever else. Maybe 5/5. It's a span of 183 days after that Russian plane fire, or from that comment, it is 183 days, and Vladimir Putin equals 183. I've been seeing that number a whole lot, 183. There's some report of the date, I think 318 or 18/3. Just like Prince Charles equals 183. There's just keep seeing it a whole lot. I haven't really been documenting about it, but I know it was an important number, important to Queen Elizabeth a long time ago, too. So I have to go back and look at some of that really old stuff. Because I know there was an important video where I talked about Queen Elizabeth and the number 183. It was way before I knew the Francis Bacon Gematria. But there was some narrative that was linked up to it. I think 318 was important to Crimea as well. Can't remember why. Let's see, Russia. Maybe it's under Russia. I remember reading something about Crimea and the date 318. Yeah, Crimea admitted on 3/18/2014. That's always really big with Ukraine, and I'm just trying to piece this together. There's something related to this horse theme and why it's important to, it's all, what are the odds that it's all this 219, It's just insane. I did end up watching this episode because my kid wasn't sleeping. Like I said, I haven't. There's an episode that came out on the same day as that Russian plane fire that I want to watch. I want to go back and watch some of them, but it's like, once again, what are the odds turning it on and it has horses on it? There's how many episodes of Family Guy? What are the odds that it stops on an exact spot where there's a horse? How often is there a horse on Family Guy? It's crazy, but this episode starts off with, they don't know where Cleveland is, and then he shows up with his psychic Jamaican cousin, and then she does a reading, and they kind of go back in time, and that's what the whole episode is about. But there's something important to the psychic stuff. Back, probably 6 months ago, back in September, there was all kinds of stuff I was having synchronicity with psychic, and how when I was younger, I had this dream that my friend's dad would die. He died in a car wreck in my dream, and then he died in a car wreck the very next day. And just this year, I found out that his wife was actually a psychic. And I wanted to go talk to her, but I don't know. I don't really have I don't want to, but I want to, It's kind of one of them hey, I want to talk about your dead husband, It just seems awkward. So, and I don't know her well enough to want to do that, So maybe someday I'll get the courage, but but Neptune is also important to this horse theme. And if you look up Neptune, I don't know for sure, but this is just what I was reading about, and some people showed me, but it's linked to psychic powers and dreams, right? So Neptune linked to psychic powers and dreams. Crimea was admitted in 2014, which was a humongous year with Neptune. It was all linked up to the Broncos and the Super Bowl and all the stuff with the Phils dying, with Prince Philip or not Prince Philip, but James Avery, who was Uncle Phil on The Fresh Prince, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. They announced him dying while Philip Phillips was singing a song on the Super Bowl pregame and whatever. I also, they do a little joke with Kiefer Sutherland in the TV show 24. And pretty sure on that TV show, the first black president gets assassinated, which is interesting. But Kiefer Sutherland's also in Stand By Me, something I talked about in the previous videos, and how Stand By Me is seemingly important. So it's just a really short joke. So, but I just feel like it might be related, so I just put it in here. It's also interesting, I made all them videos tonight, and I never got any notifications forever. I finally got one notification on my phone, and it was from this person. And what's interesting about it is when I look at this is all of the comments that are on my old video there that got that weird comment. And, I'm sure there was more, but they just disappear, and then you can't even comment back half the time. I get tons of comments in my email, and then you click on it, and then you can't even type anything back. But sometimes I just don't know what to type. Sometimes I'm just busy. I hate typing it on my phone. And then when I get home, I'm trying to like think about all these other things. I got all these things going in my brain, and I don't want to lose my train of thought. And I'm trying to document stuff, and then I forget. And the next thing you know, it's a week later. And then I'm just like, screw it. What's the point, you know? But it's just interesting. That person also commented on this old video, right? And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying they're a bad person or nothing. I'm just saying it's just interesting. There's this pattern. It's like weird that they were like the only notification really that I got. And they have 39 subscribers. So, 39 and 167 and 219. So we'll see what's going on with it, but I just had to share it. I had to share this weird synchronicity that Vladimir Putin is also involved in this Mandela thing, and it's all still synced up to 219. And, think about the Cold War in Cuba and all that, and Guantanamo Bay, and how maximum security got disqualified, and then the plane coming from Guantanamo Bay got, skidded off the runway. Then we get the Russian plane fired the day after I get that weird comment about Russian, Putin in the plane. Same day Russia attacks Ukraine. 54th day, 5-4. I don't know. We'll leave it at that, but I really should go to bed because I've got like 2 hours of sleep every night for the last, I don't even know, probably a month. So I'm really actually really exhausted. So have a good one. Peace.